What's going on, people? Welcome to the Central Stand. This episode is brought to you by Re-Inspire Printing, Vortex Competitions, and Weekend Defender. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the stand, and hit the bell button to be notified of future content. We are back. Obviously, with the Central Stand, we've done episodes in the past, but I would say this is episode 2 of season 25-26. Just to clear up a couple of things, obviously for those out there who don't know, Daniel Pritchard has gone on with his own venture now called The Voice of the Bluebirds, which we wish him nothing but the best. We did mention it on episode 1, but then it looked like he might have came back. But further discussions, he's decided that he wants to stick to what he's doing, and I wish him all the best. I saw him out in Spain this weekend. He seemed like he had a real fun time over there. I'm glad you did, Dan. You got some top content, so well done, mate. In terms of the Central Stand, as it stands, literally, Miles, Ben are going to be, involved heavily or as much as they can. We know we're going to be going to the games quite a lot. Obviously, you, Ben, you're a busy man, but when you can attend, you will as well. But I really enjoyed last week's podcast. I thought it was no nonsense. I thought we spoke about what we needed to speak about, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good start. There's positive, feel-good vibes at the minute, which is, I think it's carried on during this pre-season. The first game, the differences between the first and second game were quite clear, I thought, but you can see there's a plan and a thought process there at the moment with the football club. Is just the sort of ownership, I think, is the only thing that's left to sort out, really.
Yeah. And yourself, man?
Yeah, I totally agree. Things we were hoping for in that the first episode, they sort of rung true in the 2 games, really, from in my eyes. Obviously, it's only 2 games, and it's the opposition. You can only play what's in front of you, but. Great work out there. Nice mini tour. He's obviously has had that time to work with the team now. So yeah, everything's really positive. Really enjoyed the last pod. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting stuck in with you boys.
Yeah, well, a lot has happened since we were last year, and it was only last week. We purposely wanted to film on a Sunday just to reflect on the tour, the Spanish tour.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree with you boys. I feel like there's a lot of positivity around Cardiff City Football Club at the moment. Of course, we've still got this dark cloud with the owners, and we're unsure of where, if Tan's staying or he's selling up and who he's selling to. Yeah. And we'll speak about this today, but I think the first thing we do talk about is, the Spanish tour. And let's start off with the first game, 2-2. We watched the first half, didn't we? And we were out filming.
Yeah.
So we did have a little take on it. So I'll ask Miles first. Ben first, sorry. What do you think, mate, on the first game?
Yeah, I think it's always difficult now. You can't really take a huge amount from pre-season games because the way I see it is the opportunity to sort of, especially with a new manager, a new way of playing, a lot of young players coming in as well. It's sort of trying to bring that new identity through. But I think there was a lot of positives from our first game. The main probably issue that you'd have with it looking at it was the defensive setup, I think, being caught on the counter and sort of the transition. But I feel like that's something you're gonna have niggles with, especially starting off when you're a team that is looking now to go from what was last season, I would have said, even when we were winning games, quite defensive. Like there was a bit of you'd say defensiveness about them, but now when you're looking to play on the front foot, you've got a point. It was probably 7 or 8 players, quite high up the field. Yeah. Getting caught on the counter attack is something that you maybe are gonna have to adjust to. The goals were quite, especially the second one, I think was quite sloppy. Obviously, lack of communication there, but. You'd rather see those things happen in the first game of pre-season than the first game of the season. So, overall, I think that first game give us a good indication, I think, of where we were at as a team and as a squad at that moment in time.
Yeah, I think, going back to last season as well, although we did play probably more defensive last season, we were poor as well
Yeah,
defensively. So, you know, going forward in terms of counter-attacking, playing a totally different style of football, we are taking that risk, and we massively.
Yeah, you're definitely the way but I'd rather see a team have a bit of attacking intent and try and outscore teams rather than hope you're going to nick one and sit back on a 1-0 lead and think, like, especially when you, like, things were going against you last season. Obviously, the pressure's mounting week by week in terms of a relegation fight. And when it just felt like
mistakes get made.
Yeah,
and, you know,
like
Pressure's turned up a notch.
but it was both ends of the field, I felt, last year. Like, defensively, they weren't good enough to keep a lead. And going forward, they weren't good enough to score enough goals.
There's no plan B, no anything.
But, yeah, I think that's the main takeaway, especially from these opening 2 games, is the attacking intent.
Yeah.
Like, and I like the fact as well that when they were losing the ball, it wasn't a case of, right, everyone, it was... Right, we're getting this ball back.
It was that urgency. It was a lot more urgency. It seemed to be in the play. A lot more aggression. A lot more urgency. They were just like we spoke off camera, but they were like a bit of a pack of wolves, especially in that front 4. They seemed to be. They didn't let the defense rest whatsoever in either game. Really, they were just onto them straight away, and that's where a lot of our joy came from in those 2 games. Really,
and I think if you get that right, it is a recipe for success because it puts teams under so much pressure. The only issue is when you look to play that way, and I think it's something that we will have to figure out, especially in League One this season, is teams will notice when you're trying to... So well, they'll just try and play over you.
Yeah. It's like, you know, well, you look at like teams like Liverpool, they got found out, didn't they, after a long time, and then you have to revisit it and see how you go about it a bit differently and still play that attacking football.
Yeah. Just slightly change the recipe a little bit.
Yeah. But, you know, in terms of last season as well, though, lads, like, I remember, I think, you know, I was speaking to some of the lads like Johnny and stuff, and they'd say, you know, you could have played another 90 minutes, another 180 minutes, and we were never going to score. So, although, again, pre-season and a different quality of football teams, but 5 goals in 2 games is not pretty bad, is it, you know?
Yeah, and we've seen Salah scoring plenty as well, which I think is the main thing. I think hopefully we can... hold on to him. I know that especially, I think is a thing that you want to see him scoring goals in pre-season, but at the same time, you
don't score too many.
Like, don't put yourself in the shop window too much.
No, exactly, of course.
But yeah, I think I'd be really happy if we can. He is got guaranteed if you can keep him
goals.
Fit. 20 or like, and you need a goal scorer over the course of 46 games in a season. You need someone that's going to be there and put the ball in the back. And he done it to some extent to the back end of last season. I think
he showed his qualities, didn't he?
It was just a matter of a bit too late. And you've seen Brian Barry Murphy speaking about him. I think he looks at him, he's almost too eager at points to get in these positions. I think what they're trying to drill into him is, you trust us to put the ball where you were going to be. Yeah. So I think, but that comes with time again. Like
the different combinations and that.
Yeah, I think they were talking, obviously going through sort of patterns of play and stuff. And it's interesting as well because it's not something we've really seen from a Cardiff City group or a Cardiff City manager. Well, I can't really think of
lifetimes really, apart from patches. Yeah.
So like it can't like. I think some people will look at it and maybe think it becomes a bit repetitive, and teams at points will figure out how you're playing. So it's about switching it up. But with the sort of manager and the coaching group we have now, I feel like they're going to have, like you said, a real identity of how they want to play, and they'll stick to that principle. And I think it is good because when it does work, it pays off. Yeah. So, and it's something refreshing. I think we need.
It's refreshing. It's, I mean, you know, like you said, when was the last time we knew what we were trying to do?
Yeah.
We've sat there and been like, well, we don't even know what we're trying to achieve as a team here. Like, there's no identity. Every game's different. And I do feel like there is a real positive vibe around the whole squad, you know? Like, we talk about, we don't know who might be going or not. There's no, from my perspective, I don't know about you, but I don't feel like there's any rumours or unsettling with any of the players who want to go. Even with the Callum Robinson we were saying about on commentary, when he was commentating, he seems so invested and dedicated.
Really happy with it,
He just, you know, his main focal point is Cardiff City in this season.
Yeah.
You know, and with Yusuf Salek as well, I'd say, you know, what we saw last season with the tears and stuff after games.
Yeah, it just shows how much he cares about it, really, yeah.
And you can tell he's a very, very passionate and competitive person. And if we keep him, you know he wants to prove points this season. You know he wants to make it right.
Yeah, well, I think getting sent off in a pre-season friendly
shows the
passion.
And that purely came from frustration as well, because it was he'd missed a chance where he got into a great position off his own back. Great, he just working between the lines of the 6-yard box, and he'd carved out a bit of an opportunity for himself. And he'd had 1 or 2 half chances, and I think he was literally just pissed off, for want of a better word. So it was a very niggly game, that first game. It was the second one was physical, but I think the first one took a lot of people by surprise, how niggly and how competitive it was. So yeah, I think it just frustration boiled over a little bit. It wasn't like a crazy, you know, mean machine kind of moment, but he did flew into the bloke, and it just shows how much he wants to win every single challenge, every single time he's near the ball. So yeah, long may it continue.
I think looking at the squad as well, I know, well, we're one of only, at the time we record this, one of only 2 teams in the league. Us and Peterborough, I think, are the only 2 clubs that haven't made a sign-in. But
yeah.
I know people want to see new faces through the door, but I don't necessarily think you're going to see major changes, because you've got, well, one for me, I think, based off the performances a lot of the players put in last season, not many clubs are going to be looking at them anyway.
Yeah,
but also you've got a lot of players. I think the majority of the players that were going to leave left on a free contract, or the only one we've seen go for money, I think, is Carmo Dowda. And realistically, people might look at the movies made and wonder why he's done it, but
it's not even like he's gone to a championship side. Like, you
no,
know,
it's a team playing in Europe, managed by Robbie Keane. Like they've got the connections with the Irish team as well.
And does that show you that people really wasn't looking at Cardiff City in terms of championship sides? They probably thought we're not interested, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, but I don't think there'll be many ins or outs from the current squad that we've got. I think there's some places where you could add, but you've also got, well, you look through the 2 sort of starting 11s they made through these games, a lot of young players as well who probably bit part featured last season or didn't really feature at all. You like look through some of the names, and like a lot of them you'd think probably are not starting 11 players going into the season, but are going to be on the bench, going to be having an impact off the bench regularly.
Well, I think that we're in a great position when it comes to that, because number one, you've got these championship players who have played championship football probably all their lives, some of them, you know, and even higher quality than that. They are going to want to play week in, week out. They're going to want to, you know, if they're staying at Cardiff City, they're going to want to prove a point. They don't want to be in League One, surely not. And then you've got the upstars then who are going to want to try their best as well. I would like to think that, you know, on that training pitch, they are really trying to prove points to...
Yeah, they're chomping at the bit, you would think.
You know, to start and to stay in the team.
Yeah, I think it's a good mix of youth and experience. I think they've got a good sort of core there as well. I think you look at the midfield 3, I think that will start the season of Wintle sort of sitting behind Colwell and Alex Robertson, or maybe Turnbull, depending on how he wants to go over there. I think that, like, you look at that, that's in terms of League One level, that's one of the best midfielders in
really
the
strong,
league.
Isn't it?
And then you've got exciting
strong
attacking young players. That I feel the main issue for me looking at the squad would be defensively and maybe a goalkeeper. I probably would prefer a goal, especially with the style of play that they're gonna try and implement. You see Wintle sort of dropping in between the centre backs, so they're gonna play out from the back. Would probably prefer a goalkeeper that's a bit more comfortable with their feet, but unless Horvath or Alnwick make a move, I can't see him bringing another goalkeeper in. But at the same time, they're 2 very good goalkeepers, especially at this level as well. Like Horvath in particular was a Premier League player, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago when he was in the Luton side. So yeah, I think once you get that sort of defensive setup, and a bit more comfortable with our back line with how they play, and I don't think we're in that bad of a shape.
Yeah, I think it's like, we've got defensive combinations. It is, I think, like with our second goal in particular, in the first game, that's where things get a bit disjointed, because obviously we're playing two totally different 11s from one half to the next, which never ever happens, of course, but that's where it just gets a bit disjointed. But it's good that he's seeing these different combinations, how players can slot in. It filled me with confidence, to be honest with you, to see how young, in particular, the defensive, the back line was, how confident and how composed they were, to be honest with you, particularly at fullback. All the players I featured in pre-season at fullback, I couldn't pick out one in particular, because they all... Tell you who I would pick out in particular, actually, is Louis Giles, because in the first game, I would imagine the plan was probably for him to play the second half as a left back, but he had to come in as a makeshift centre back then, which is like, we sort of have seen that progression with Joel Bagan, who's now our he's like the longest serving player. So he had gone from like flying fullback to now he covers centre back as well. In particularly like NG does on the other side for us, who's a much more senior figure. So we could see like the early indications that Louis Giles is going to be a player that can cover multiple positions, and he looked so comfortable in doing so. So that fills me with a lot of confidence, to be honest with you, to see there's combinations there. We're obviously going to have our sort of favoured back four, or whether it turns into a back three with wing backs. Do you know what I mean? But I think he's going to... This 2 weeks... 2 to 3 weeks that he's had with these players is going to give him a strong indication of where he'll want to strengthen, particularly with maybe lone players, the right kind of characters he wants in and around the club, whether he brings in 1 or 2 experienced players. But time will tell. I did notice as well, when you say it clicked with me then, when you said about Wintle dropping in between the centre-backs. We've seen him playing his best football, really, for Cardiff City in that sort of position when he was dropping back, like a quarterback, I like to call him, when he's just like, he's coming and he's picking out passes then. Horvath, most games I've seen him play where he's gathered the ball and he sprints to the edge of the box, and it's almost like he hasn't really got the confidence to pick out an option. And I know it's pre-season, but I did notice a couple of times yesterday where he's sprung to the edge of the box, he's looked around, and Wintle's been that option there for him. Whether Wintle have given him a bollock in a couple of times in training and said, just give me the ball, I'm there, give it to me, I'm confident enough to take it, turn, pick out the full back, or drop it to the centre back and move. I think it's just building that confidence in the combinations between the back four, and that'll sort of send us in the right direction then, because from what we've seen, attacking wise, with like a front four, going like a pack of wolves and closing down and pressing aggressively, it's just going to seep through the team, and we just got to build that confidence and that continuity, I think, throughout the squad.
Yeah, I think Wintle will play quite a key role in how they want to play as well. And well, as long as I've watched him since he joined the club, he always seems like one of those midfield players that are comfortable, like you said,
confident,
receiving the ball wherever he is on the pitch, and you need, especially when you're going to have someone who's going to drop into that position and sort of start the attacks, you need someone who is going to be like, give me the ball, I will start it. So
dictate the tempo a bit,
So I think where probably was it over the last 2 seasons he was out on loan last year, so I think he will almost feel like a new player for this squad going into the season. And I don't think they're too far off, probably 1 or 2 signings. I think maybe a centre back, another full back, probably left back since O'Dowd has gone. Yeah. And then you're looking probably someone like a winger that can be is going to create stuff. I know we've got a lot of good attacking players going forward, but I think a couple of additions there. Yeah. And you're looking at a really strong squad then.
I think so. Yeah.
Obviously, last week we spoke about Ruben Colwell, and obviously this isn't the section where we talk about Ruben Colwell, but was that first game? I didn't see yesterday, so I don't know. Did he play yesterday?
He linked up well with Salah.
He did, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, is this an insight to see, kind of what he will be like at a lower kind of standard? We were talking last week about it being like a kind of a make or break for him. What do you think?
Although I think last week we were quite positive. We were still quite cautious and apprehensive in our, and we've spoke about it pretty much all week, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? And I think the both brothers, they've taken it by the scruff on this tour. They both looked really comfortable and really happy in their positions. I think we've seen more and more of the fact that Joel will be able to cover anywhere in that midfield three, really. I think he could be that sort of six that we were talking about, the Wintle sort of quarterback, having it off the keeper. But he also, from his interview as well, he's wanting to score more goals, get into those attacking positions as his brother does. So Ruben, for me, exactly how we said last week, we wanted him to take games by the scruff of the neck, impose his will on teams, which for me, in the 2 games, he did that. He did what we wanted. What we wanted to see off him, what we were hopeful of seeing off him. Yeah, he's tuned in. He's like, let's sort these boys out. No, but the first half of the first game, it's a bit tetchy. It's a bit, hesitant. The second half, new 11. He was part of that new 11. He was the number 10 of that new 11. And for the first goal, it's a mad situation. Really, he's caught the guy out of. He's caught the guy and dispossessed him. And he's just wrapped his arms around him, pretty much like, well, we said it at the time, didn't we? It was like a George North situation where he's literally dragged the defender with him into the box. The defenders finally sort of let him go because he said, well, I'm going to give away a pen if I'm still holding him by here. And he's looked really composed, picked out a teammate. They've had the presence of mind. There's one of the youngsters. I can never pronounce his name properly. Niakua. So he's just he's had it there. He's had a look, set it then. And Turnbull's drilled the ball away. So that sort of got the ball rolling. And I mean, we scored 5 goals on this tour, and Ruben's been heavily involved in 4 of those. So I mean, that tells you everything you need to know really about maybe is a bit of a shift in ownership over the situations that he's in, and just being like, these are my strengths. BBM's maybe saying to him, we'll play to your strengths. Let's get it rocking and rolling.
Well, if
basically.
you had a manager anyway, and you do see from afar players like Ruben Caldwell,
I know what I do with him. He's a bit like that. He's bound to have had that.
We said many times on and off camera how Ruben Caldwell hasn't had someone there to kind of
not really
give him that investment, and we don't know what Rizzer have said, and
no, we don't really.
and Bullet, but it just seems like no one is really focused on him.
No, and give him that responsibility as well. Give him that responsibility and that ownership of those situations to really, really implement what his style is, how he plays the game. And in these first 2 games, I know it sounds like a broken record, but you're only playing the teams that are in front of you. But it was a tough workout. It's really, really hot over there. It's disjointed when you're changing 11s, but like that starting 11 in the second game. If that played in like a league game and they carried on with how they were linking up, like they were really in tune with each other. Him, Tanner, and the front 4 basically. Tanner, Ashford, Salic, and Colwell. They were just really on it, and they were. I think if they'd have played for like a 60 minutes, for instance, I think we would have been a bit more in front, to be honest, because Salic was, it was being provided for him. Like the points you made earlier on, it was being provided for him. Like he had a header just before his goal. He had a header which he got into a lovely position. It come across, and a lot of players maybe would have been a bit, pissed off with that because he's got into a nice position. It's just gone wide, but then just after that, pressure from Ashford again. Back, there's a pass across about 20 meters out. Colwell's taking it. Lovely little slip ball into Salic, and again we're off and running like the first goal in the first game is very similar to the first goal in the second game, in a sense that it just felt like we were at the races, and he's just slipped him in. Lovely little finish, and off we go.
Yeah, I think the thing you can't replicate in these preseason games as well is the atmosphere you're gonna have alongside.
Yeah.
Like when, like you said, they're playing like hounding defences. You can imagine when that's at the Cardiff City Stadium.
Oh God, yeah.
They're gonna love it.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna be so behind them. That little bit of that 5% when you hear that crowd behind you is gonna push you.
And how many of those players haven't had that?
Yeah, over the last few years, and
people like Tanner Colwell, they are Robertson. They and can you imagine Salah? These are players who thrive on that. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think, especially like you said, with someone like Tanner, like how many times have we seen him? He gets the ball out wide, and you just hear the crowd just get at him.
Yeah,
just
go on.
And he's got the ability to do it.
Yeah.
I think maybe parts of last season you probably picking the ball up in those areas, and instead of having that attacking attempt, I don't want to mess up.
Second guessing
and
themselves.
You could feel it, can't you, on the sideline? People are like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I think with that attacking intent this season, you're going to have so many players like Colwell who are sort of crashing in that box, trying to attack, and I think that will make it really exciting. And even when you're playing away as well, when you're hounding teams in their own ground, the fans are going to be like, it's like that panic for them.
Oh, why can't you deal with them kind of thing? But it's that urgency, isn't it? It's that urgency from 1 to 11. They did seem to have. I noticed it even more of there was an improvement from the first game to the second game. Do you know what I mean? It's that urgency and that blueprint on a game. They just seem to have more about them and more of a togetherness. And if we can implement that will on teams weekly, then it's only going to stand us in good stead.
Do you think Ollie Tanner will have a good season?
I think he's got the potential to have a really good season this year, especially with the way they've set up, because I feel like if they can set up attacking scenarios to sort of allow that switch, because I feel like he's always best when you see that sort of switch up really quickly to him, and he's one-on-one with his full-back because he's so raw but
direct,
so talented.
Direct.
He reminds me of like he is very much like he's got the traits of like a lower league sort of winger that just likes to get his full-back, which you don't see as much, I feel, the higher you go up the leagues these days.
It's like coached out of him a bit, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's coached out of him, that old school winger mentality.
It reminds me a lot of, do you know, Grealish when he was at Villa compared to Grealish when he's gone to Man City. That sort of
he's had to toe the line,
the excitement you've seen when you watch Grealish initially is sort
that
of
freedom
sort of
taken out,
and that's that. What made him £100 million player has almost been stripped back.
Very, very interesting you say that.
Yeah.
And hopefully
totally
someone
agree.
like Brian Barry Murphy could see that as well and just say,
You've
go
got
kid,
to play,
you tear it up.
You've got to play to players' strengths at times. There's only so much you can sort of adapt and change these players before you take what makes them good.
Yeah.
What brings him to the dance in the first place. Like what got him that professional contract. But, as we said with Ruben, it's getting them to play to their strengths and getting them to utilising their abilities at the end of the day.
Like you look at Corey, looks massive.
Yeah.
Looks big, strong. He should be a combative.
I love
what
that.
I'm so happy to see about about that first assist. Where it's we how many times we said he looks weak and he is just bullied.
He was literally a man playing against a boy, and it's where you've seen him
confidence into him. I think.
Yeah, it's where you've seen like those little clips in like 21's level, and when you've seen it. Like the odd moment here and there where he does look like a man playing against boys, and he's just ragdolling people because he is so big and he uses his body really well. It's like it's a bit like Tomlin, like how Tomlin used to do. Like, do you know what I mean? He'd like manipulate the ball without actually touching it. So like he'd lean into a defender and just sort of let the ball do the work kind of thing. Even though he's
these are professional players at the end of the day. You'd like to think they want to play at the best possible and they want to achieve as much as they can. I look at the British Lions tour. I know I'm going on to rugby here, but I was so heartbroken to see hardly any representation from Wales. Yeah, and I see it now with the Welsh squad in football as well. Don't you think? Look, Ruben Colwell. Don't you want to play for our national side? Don't you want to prove a point to people like Craig Bellamy, who probably,
this is the season to do it as well.
You've got that opportunity now, haven't you?
You've got the World Cup at the end of this season.
Yeah, this is your time to shine, isn't
it? If there's ever a season you want to throw your name, and it is like with the way Wales are playing as well, it very much I feel will go hand in hand with how we are looking to play this season. So there's no reason why, if he's not doing it at a club level, he can't make the argument.
This is his point to show Craig I can play in this style of football.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I heard there was a bit of trouble at the away as well. I know I don't really want to stay on this topic, but I heard a couple of Southend fans attacked Cardiff City.
Yeah, I've heard rumblings. I've heard so many different things, but I mean, warm weather, alcohol, and
Yeah.
football. They're a bit of a lethal cocktail on time, especially
Southenders.
yeah, Southenders, and you know,
It's like Millwall, isn't it?
it's only a hop, skip, and a jump from Benidorm, and it's a bit. It sounded like it was a bit lady, and the Southenders they're a bit. A bit tasty, and they so
Yeah.
it's just one of them scenarios. We hope everyone's okay over there. Like the rumblings we'd heard of trouble sounded quite bad, and then you heard some stories there weren't so bad, but we just don't want any sort of trouble really at the games. But as I said, in the sun, a lot of beer. It's these things can happen sometimes.
Yeah. So before we jump onto our next topic, then as a whole, pretty confident for the season ahead from those two games. It's pretty hard to look at, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think from what we've seen so far, you can't really complain, and it's
because I did see a couple of comments and some people saying that they were quite concerned.
I think you're always going to have people like that, though. It's like
I'm worried.
I didn't understand that, to be honest. So I don't understand that. From from more, like we said, we try not to get too ahead of ourselves, and it's almost like you've got to sort of tone it down, your excitement over these games, and it's like. What we saw was positive in my eyes, and I know going back to episode 1, we said about my rose tinted glasses, but I really thought it was positive, especially like the fact that it was an improvement from one game to the next, and there was only three games
season where we've been as positive as this. Though.
No, and we've had good results, and we've played well in pre-season, but it just seems to be more of a build-in kind of thing going on here, and it was better from one game to the next, and it was 3 days difference in those games, so it's. He's clear in what he's saying, his intent, Brian Barry Murphy, and he's thorough in what he seems to be wanting the players to play. He wants them to show. He said he's going to be so diligent in what he's doing on the training pitch, and he wants that implemented into games. I mean, I can't see any reasons to be negative at the moment. Not from those 2 games. Anyway, I'm buzzing, to be honest with you. I'm really excited.
Realistically, the more time he gets to spend with this group of players, the better it should get, really. And I think we've got 2 more pre-season games coming up now. I know we're playing QPR away, I think, and then
we got a couple of behind closed doors, haven't we?
I think these ones back here will.
I think QPR especially, I think, will be a good indication of where we're at, because QPR they've put together a good squad themselves this season for Championship, obviously. So I think that, and
if we would have still been in that level last year, if we were relegated, and see where we would be.
And Notts County then is the week before the season kicks off. Notts County, obviously a team that have played at obviously League 2 this year, but played at League 1 level recently. So I think they will give a bit of a better indication of where we're at heading into that first game against Peterborough. But nothing really you can't recreate that feeling of that first game when you're walking out. But I think it's helpful as well. I think that first game at the Cardiff City Stadium, if we can
that'd be great.
Get behind, because it should be a good crowd. Hopefully, is a bit depending as well what happens with the ownership situation. If that moves forward, I think that brings a couple of extra 1,000 down there. Get behind them. A good first win against the Peterborough side. It's difficult to see where they're at the moment, because they've sold a lot of their best players. The only other club that haven't made a signing yet. So But I think it's
it definitely, well, for me it does. I don't know about you guys or you guys watching, but it certainly feels like the stars are starting to align in the Cardiff City universe. I'd like to think that the big sun, which could be the ownership coming in, happens, and we get the right move. Do you think this is something that will happen before the season starts, or is this something that will just be a big bombshell during the season?
It'd be amazing. It'd be amazing for us to build on this positivity that we've already got, sort of running through, well, particularly us 3 year. But I think a lot of people are a lot more positive going into this season than I think we thought we would have been on the back of a relegation. So for this to happen as well now on top, it would be really, really massive boost to us all. I think going into, if it could happen before that Peterborough game, can you imagine what it'd be like there? It'd be absolutely electric. I think absolutely electric down there. So
the sooner the better in terms of getting signed in through the door and stuff like that as well. Just
the pull they'd have would be massive, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that second interview with Bale, someone actually said, "Is this AI?" Like the interviewee, the woman, she did seem very. Like, who is this person? It was like very PC looking, and I just thought, but it sounded too good to be true. But
Well,
at the
yeah,
same time,
yeah.
we said this from the previous video when he was at the red carpet. For him to say things like this publicly,
Yeah, to be so public about
you know,
it.
this is not like he's actually done an interview and he's stating these things. Like, you know, it does seem like he's pretty confident.
Yeah.
But again, I've heard there's potentially 3 people looking to buy up. Let's go through those 3 people. So obviously we've got the one we probably all want, which would be
first choice.
the Bale consort.
Yeah.
South African
Yeah.
owners.
It's hard to read it because with the sources that are
No, but what we've what
from
we've
what
heard.
from
you
what,
know, we're not saying
from
this
what
is
is out there is there's a South African that is also interested in buying the club, and also you've got Dalman's consortium as well, and so the fact that I don't think there's any doubt that one of those 3 are going to get their hands on the club.
I got and I do have that kind of sickly feeling when I hear the name Dalman, and not nothing against him as a person. I just feel this whole
We want a clean
era.
slate, don't we?
Yeah,
we
yeah,
want
and
a
I
clean
feel
slate.
like this
Whoever
would
comes
not
in.
be a clean break.
No.
This would be more of the same. It's similar to like I don't want to bring politics into it, but I'll give you an example. You know, you had Obama as the president, and then you had Biden underneath, right? And then Biden came in, and people thought he was like, "I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that, I'm going to change this," and people are like, "Well, you've just been the vice president for Obama for how long, and you've never changed any of this stuff in the 4 years. So why are you going to do it now?" And I feel it's the same with ownerships. You know, like Dalman, you've been heavily involved. For years now. What is going to be different with you getting involved?
I think it would really be much of the same thing, because
It
it would be business people rather than football people. Like, of course, they've got to be business people involved in business, but we've been crying out for more of a football or more of a sports kind of figurehead involved in the club. And I mean, if it was to be a bit of a that would just be a bit of a passing of the torch, and just sort of still the same owners basically.
If we could have a vote in progress, so we could vote in. Would any of you vote Dalman? I don't think there's many people out there who would. You know,
I wouldn't think so. No.
It is interesting, very interesting. You know, I would like Bale to be involved 100%, because of who he is. You know what he's achieved in his life, and I'm sure that these people, like, is he been open to the people involved with him? Would it be similar to the Luka Modric thing at Swansea? Or?
Well, they haven't sort of put out publicly who the investors would be in the consortium, but from like the rumours and what people are trying to figure out is it would obviously be a group of American businessmen who have got a lot of money.
It could be anyone. You don't know what connections he made. Like I don't know if we covered
Spanish,
it. You know, the connections he made in that 6 months in LA. You know, given the first sort of talk of it, public talk of it, was on the red carpet thing. It could be anyone. But at the end of the day, to have Gareth Bale as the figurehead of it, I think it would be slightly different to the situation with Modric, whereas Modric, I think he's sort of he's involved.
Yeah,
but
he's probably involved as much as Snoop Dogg is.
Yeah, and how involved is he? How involved is Snoop at the moment? Like, considering how many jerseys we've seen Snoop Dogg, including our own, over the years, and you know, a bit of a turncoat, really. We gutted with that, but no, it is what it is. But I think Gareth Bale. We could probably, we wouldn't be that surprised on a week to week basis to see him down there at home games. Do you know what I mean? And probably a couple of away games. So I think he would be heavily involved. I think he would be the face of it, and he would want to get things going. Given how successful
he didn't play a season year before retirement as well.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You know, in a way, it's him getting his involvement. You know, his giving back to his city.
And it'd be tenfold, wouldn't it? It'd be tenfold. It'd be a massive. It'd be a massive thing for us. It'd be a massive thing to give to us, to have him involved. And
imagine.
I don't want to get too.
I know.
We look at Ramsey, right? Is Bale the same age as Ramsey? Is he younger?
They're or thereabouts. They're maybe a year between them.
There's no reason why he can put a shirt on.
Yeah, a year between them. Yeah, he's had a nice little break. I mean, a nice little golf break now. So he might want to give his, might want to give his swing a rest and, swing a few crosses in. I don't know. We'll see. But
no, it is. It's interesting, isn't it?
It is, and it's exciting, isn't it?
And when we look back at towards the end of last season, like the thought of relegation was just like, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Couldn't
we
imagine
could be
it.
here for years, and you know, we could be. But you know,
Yeah.
now we're here, we're on arrival. I'm really excited. I'm
Yeah.
really positive.
I am really hoping we can get a new ownership over the line. Hopefully we'll use something.
And I hope the
else.
fans really do take to this now. They really do give their
Well,
all. I hope people go down there
you
and
can't,
sing their
like,
hearts
if
out.
that happens, if Bale and this consortium takes over and things are going well, there's no reason why people can't be getting down there.
I can't see how you would be pessimistic about it if it did happen.
No, but
it's
even
in front of
okay,
you.
but
It's like,
even like I think for this now, the start of this season, even if Tan is still there, people, we can't go in. Look, it's what we're lumped with at the end of the day, and we can't just sit there and just moan and groan all the time. We've got to get behind our players.
we've got to, absolutely.
You know, and Brian Barry Murphy, like, he might do the greatest job. The one thing I could be scared of is Brian Barry Murphy doing an unbelievable job, and Vincent Tan saying, "See, you know, I did it again." Sort of thing. I'm gonna stay, like, you know. But at the same time, I don't want to be staying in League One. You know, I want us to do well. I want us to win games.
Strike
I
while
want
the iron's
that
hot.
stadium to be bumping. You know.
Strike while the iron's hot. Well, we got this positivity now, and just keep that running throughout the club. It is infectious there. So, you know, if the results match, you know, the majority of fans' attitude, then hopefully those ones that are still naysayers, those ones that are still a bit negative about it, they can buy in and really go down to support the team rather than going down and having their 2 hours of sort of ranting a week. You know, it's better for people to go down and really enjoy the game and have that escape there, what it's actually meant for, and get behind the team and really enjoy it.
I do feel like you get it with some football fans as well.
No.
I feel like they just want to take. They need somewhere to take their frustration out.
Just
on a weekend.
purely
So
pessimistic. Yeah,
we could be winning 3-0 and someone at half time and someone sat behind and go, but he's doing this wrong. I feel like you always.
So it's like what?
You always
they
have
misses where's the trousers in the relationship, and it's the only time they get to fucking vent something.
They just want to go down
right
there just to have a shout and a moan at
And
someone.
I think there is plenty of people like that up and down the leagues. But hopefully we can just be as positive as possible and really enjoy it.
Are you going to be coming to the home games then?
I will be at the first one.
Yeah,
I should be,
so
and I'll be at the first away game hopefully, since that's been moved to a Thursday night.
Yeah, so you'll be down the stadium with us then.
I should be down for that first one.
Yeah,
I should be free.
I'm excited.
Can't wait, mate.
I'm excited.
Buzzing for it.
Anything else, guys? Anything else in the Cardiff City world that we want to jump on before we shoot?
No, I think
we've covered a lot. It's
just
pretty snappy, wasn't it?
That first bit of pre-season's out of the way now. I know we're meant to go to Yeovil on the Tuesday night, but that's an under-21 squad now.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's
first game of the season on TV.
We are
first couple, I think. In it two.
First two.
Yeah,
because we got moved
but
to
it's
the Thursday
12
night.
and 12 at Peterborough. So it's
nice trip to
Stoke.
Port Vale, Stoke.
Yeah,
on a
same horse.
Quarter kick-off.
Phil Taylor and Robbie Williams' favourite team, Port Vale.
I suppose that's a bit of a shame for the fact, especially we've got a good set of travelling fans. Something we've always had.
And I think that's
a shame for them. The fact that that's been moved to a Thursday night.
But I think it's still going to be in numbers every game, and do you know what I mean? As they have been,
they are now in Spain.
I've gone to a lot of away games over the last few seasons, and you can't fault our away support. I think.
No, I think it's
the home support. You can say has been up and down, but away it's that core group of fans that have been there through thick and thin.
Well, they've got not that it's a separate entity, but the fact that those away trips now this year is all going to be new and fresh and like revisited like teams from the past. So it's
I don't
want to be really good.
Like pessimistic or negative, but being someone on the receiving end of it as well, though, like I feel that these fans, we've had this conversation with the Wales mob. I do feel there is this kind of not deluded, but there's just a sense of entitlement that I've been to more games than you, like, and I feel sometimes I felt guilty.
The red wall and things like that,
and I'm just like, listen, we should be welcoming
everyone who wants to support the team. Get behind,
100%. Like, don't make people feel. And I've felt it. Yeah, I felt uncomfortable sometimes going down there.
Yeah.
Right, because
but honestly,
if you haven't been to a Shrewsbury season,
you never know. You never know what can come from it. That person having that first experience at the game. Not to go into too much detail, but a friend of mine, Joey, he came down with me. It was Sol Bamba's first game, right? for Sol Bamba's first game, just signed him. When Warnock came in and he got a couple of free agents, didn't he?
Not a bad time to go
Yeah,
down.
Bamba's first game, and he was hooked straight away. And you've had a season. He goes down every single game. He never ever leaves before the final whistle. He absolutely adores going down to the game. That's his thing. So it's like you don't know from that person's first game, or that person saying, or any tickets going for blah 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 blah, whatever it is. You think they're a Glory supporter, you think anything. Just welcome them in. Welcome them in and let people enjoy that game, because you don't know what's going to come from that. It's going to be a ripple effect of positivity, and you just don't know what's going to come from that. And just let people enjoy what you enjoy. You know, there shouldn't be a gatekeeper mentality.
You've got the talk of, like, you know, people who would, you know, last season as well. Oh, people just want us to go down so they can do their away days again. Yeah, let them. We'll be here now. We're here now. Let's have the greatest.
Yeah.
Bring X amount of thousand each time
Exactly.
away. Let them go. Let them support the boys. Yeah. They deserve something to cheer. Right?
Literally, the more the merrier.
The last 10, 15, 20 years. Wow,
It's been like
it's
that.
been hard.
It's been like that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's one thing I'd say. Let's go into this season positive, you know. And
Definitely.
Look, when I go down the City Stadium, I get nothing but love
Yeah.
from anyone I see, right? And I feel so welcomed by them. But you
That's
do,
wicked.
it's, you know, when you're away from it, and you get the odd person who tries.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like, it wouldn't dare say
Keyboard
anything. It wouldn't dare
warriors.
say anything to my face. Like,
No.
do you know what I mean? But I just feel, not just for me, there's so many people who go, I won't go down there, mate. Like, I won't go down there because I feel like I'm not welcome down there.
Yeah.
We've got to be positive this year, boys.
Got to be.
And
Yeah,
I think we've had a
so.
good start, haven't we?
Yeah, I think, got to go into the start of this season positive. Hopefully we get more positive news this week and we can get a change of ownership. I think especially with that, if we can get the dream scenario, like, you can't complain.
Yeah.
You've got
And you know the other
fall
good
back
thing
in.
as well. Central stand, obviously the best. But you've got Daniel with his voice of the Bluebirds. You've got Ace, Cardiff City World Nation.
Yeah.
You've got
View from the
Ninian.
View from the
You know,
Ninian, yeah.
You've got yourself doing your little thing as well. Like, we've got so many, but you're a stand now, obviously. But we got it's good to see so many people.
There's so much more.
investing
There's so
in-
much more now than there was. We were crying out for content in the past. There was nothing, was it? And now it seems to be so much more now.
People would say we're probably one of the newer ones. in
Yeah,
that
yeah,
case, but
definitely.
It's good. Like, I never noticed it as much before. Maybe it was
No.
because I was just focusing on Central Club.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to see, you know, and
That's
I hope
great.
that everyone works together, collaborates, supports each other.
That's how it
And
should
let's
be.
get this
Definitely.
club back to where it should be.
Definitely. No doubt about it.
Guys, it's been a pleasure. Same time next week.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Happy days.
See you at the
Guys,
stands, mate.
please subscribe to the Central Stand. Get us to that 1,000 mark, please. That would help us, support us. We can then monetize the channel, be able to make more content for the Central Stand. If you haven't, I just want to say this actually is very, very important. So, in terms of Daniel moving on, we had I know some people would say keep this private, but I feel people deserve to know anyway. And I want you to know because I want you to now follow our new pages. But obviously, I brought Daniel in, and you know, I seen how passionate he was about Cardiff City. I saw that he went to home games and away games, and I thought he would be a perfect person to be a vehicle to voice the fans for the Central Stand. Obviously, Daniel's got his own way now, but I recognise the work that Daniel put in, and although the Central Stand, you know, the social media handles, everything was ownership of the Central Stand, I do feel that Daniel put his work in and deserved to take something out of it. So Daniel has got the Facebook and the TikTok, okay? So if you follow the Facebook or you follow the TikTok of the Central Stand, it is no longer the Central Stand. I'm not telling you to unfollow it. It's now the voice of the Bluebirds. Stick at that. But we are going to now create a new social media handle for the Central Stand, Facebook and TikTok. So please, we're going to do that today. If you could please give us a follow on TikTok, Facebook. Obviously, we are on YouTube and Instagram as well. We'd really, really appreciate it. You know, it will help us a lot. And yeah, we'll see you next week. And if not, we will see you at the stands.